Today, I'm going to start my 7 Days to Die tutorial series on how to get started in 7 Days to Die. This will mostly be for new players or old players who want to come. Anyway, I was just on the title screen just a few seconds ago. Let it load. I've already started a new world specifically for my tutorials. You can have up to 4, and as you can see, I kind of just made a few just to have some fun. And my other video, which is mostly this one, is my hardest difficulty series, which may still be on my channel. I may have to re-upload the first episode. Not sure. If so, then I'll get to it when I get to it. But just to do a quick show an actual tutorial. When you hit new game, you come to your character selection. I have more characters than someone who just bought the game and hasn't bought all the download content. So not every one of these characters will be available to everyone, but it's there whenever, just to kind of have a little bit of a fun way to do this. There's 4 different game types, being private game, creative multiplayer, hello reaction, local games, and today I'll be doing a private game just to kind of give it into a tutorial on how to do it. Now, depending on what you name your okay, I figured as much. Well then, okay, instead of a private game, we'll go local, just because. Anyway, you can set up your either Naves game, which is the main channel, which is the main map driven for the story of this thing, or there's Random Gen, which I like to personally play on, which will always have at least 1 central city and at least 1 to 2 traders. As a novice game, you'll have most, if not all, the traders. You'll have at least 4. You go to your local game options. There's standard options, which you can set the difficulty, zombie run if you want them to run, enemy aggression, and daylight length, 16 being the normal, or you can have 12, which is extremely short days and incredibly long nights, or you can have 18, which gives you just a couple more hours, which I find to be the easiest way to start off if you've never played a zombie survival game. Feral is more of a, for the aggression you have normal, which is recommended for newer players. Feral, which can let them sense you even through walls, which automatically happens on Horde Night anyway, for whatever reason. I don't know how that works. Now, zombie run, you can have default, which is they run at night and walk during the day. Never run, they'll never run ever. Always run, they'll always run day or night. Not recommended for new players. I usually have never run just to kind of, except on the hard difficulty. The hardest difficulty, I set everything to max, insane. Adventure is the starter. It'll give you a decent it'll give you a decent challenge, decent all-around start. Scavenger will give you more of an easy go through. Everything will pretty much die in a hit or two, depending on where you hit it. And it slowly just goes up. If you want to kind of... Sorry. If you want to kind of go through more of a nomad type, it will let you have more of an experienced first-person shooter, realistic. Warrior is for people who have played this game, want a little bit more of a challenge, less of a likely chance. Survivalist is for the extremists who want to just kind of go all out nomad style. And Insane is, well, as you've seen on my channel, insane. I recommend starting on Adventurer. You can have modded options, which you can choose to drop everything on your death, which is default. Exactly. Start easy and then work your way up through the list, rather than going through and starting from the worst difficulty, because then you'll never get the true experience and you'll pretty much just hate the thing from the get-go. But on death you can have everything dropped, the tool belt, which I prefer because then I'm only losing what's in my main inventory rather than my backpack, which might have all my ammo and everything else. You can drop your backpack on death, which will keep your main hotbar for like your weapons, tools, etc. Or you can have it to where it'll delete everything on death and you lose completely everything and start over from scratch. I don't recommend this for anyone on any difficulty, unless you're just looking for the extreme challenge of how am I going to survive this in one piece. I recommend, for me personally, tool belt, because it's easy to get back what's in your tool belt. You can easily make another stone axe, etc. Don't keep anything in your tool belt that you're going to want to lose, obviously. Like if you're just, like say you have a bunch of ammo in your tool belts and you have like rotting flesh or something that you don't really mind losing, swap those icons back and forth, leave rotten flesh on your tool belt, you'll drop it, you don't really have to worry about it. Enemy memory default is 60 minutes, well 60 seconds, which is a minute, and what that does is however long, that's how long they remember in what direction you went and will pursue you. You can lower it all the way to 30 seconds, which is a decent way to get away, or you can max it out at 90, which is a minute and a half, and zombies will go pretty far for that distance, and you have a much worse probability of having a horde follow you rather than just one or two zombies. 60 is default, obviously, but I usually, for tutorial sake, I put it on 30, which, like I said, I already have the world open and ready. I just have to go back to it. Enemy spawning, you can obviously turn it off to where it's more of just a survival, scavenge the land, try and live. You have very low, which will spawn minimal to no zombies. Low, which is an okay-ish. Medium, which is default. That's the normal amount of zombies that will spawn. You have high, which will give you a fair amount of zombies, which is a little bit more challenging than medium. Then you have very high, which will spawn the maximum amount of zombies in a world. Bad on Horde Night, especially on your first two, because normally you don't have the weapons, the ammo, or anything. I recommend playing anywhere from very low to low as a starter, just to kind of get the feel of the game. Block durability, normal is I think 100, and whenever you go 25 is the lowest, which will make it easier for you to break things, but also makes it easier for the zombies to break things. I turned mine up to max because, yeah, it may take me longer to break things. Loot respawn time, you can have it disabled entirely to where whenever you pick something up, that's it. It will never respawn forever in the entire game. 5 days up to a max of 50. Now, having a month, a full game month, to where loot doesn't respawn is a little ridiculous to me. And having it completely disabled gives you too much of a handicap, in my opinion. 5 days is okay for when you're first starting out, you don't know the game. Loot abundance, normal is 100 or 30, I believe. 25 is, well, you kind of can read what's the little tiny text box right next to it. It's the percentage of loot that's actually on containers and zombies, and will determine how much loot is in one place. Airdrops can happen every 24 hours. You can set it to none, to where you will never get one, all the way up to 168 hours. That's about, I think, close to a week and a half, or a week minimum. I'm not exactly sure. I set mine to every 24 hours. 24-hour cycle, you can have it up to a max of 30 minutes in real time, or a max of 120 minutes, which is about an hour and 30 minutes. 2 hours, my bad. I wanted to make sure I was doing math right. But 2 hours for 24-hour cycle is great for new players. It'll give you the chance to figure it out, learn everything. Whenever you exit a game, always put an X on the airdrops. I will show you that more in-game whenever I first do this. Icons, don't really need it. And of course, there's always cheat mode for people who don't really want to take the time to actually do this. I'm not going to use it for the extent of this tutorial. I'm just kind of showing you what's there. But anyway, let's get this world loaded up. Get it started. I do not remember where I have this thing. I don't know if I did the... Apologies to everyone who is watching. I will sometimes pause to overthink, and that's a little bit bad on my part, I know, and I really do apologize for that. It's just not a very talkative person, normally. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Maybe.
Finally loading in. Maybe my game may have froze too. There we go. Alright. I spawned originally in the desert biome, which is not a good spawn location. As you can clearly see, this is a new map. Never played on it before. So I don't know where anything is in the world. I have my render distance spawned to max, so I can kind of see off in the distance, like those mountains. If I'd had normal render distance, I wouldn't be able to see them. Anyway, to get materials, we're just kind of gonna start punching stuff. punch these or anything like this to get wood. You'll punch grass to get grass, dead trees to get more wood, until you can build an axe. Rocks is better off to try and find rather than punch a rock, because most of the time you won't get one. Kind of just to prove a point here. Let's see if I can find some freaking stone. These are good to have for medicine. You won't be able to make one really right off. See, there's a stone. Pick it up. You'll need 5 to make an axe. You'll need... you really won't need sand. I'm kind of just hitting everything instead of what I want to hit. You'll never need sand until you start making gravel and things, which is way later on. You'll hold square if you're on PlayStation to open up your radio. The crafting section allows you to make all your things. Your character will take you to your character profile. Always check your food and water, check your heat index, etc. I'm just going to pick this up with X and toss it over here because I don't need it. You're in the desert. These are your lifesavers. They're food, they are water, they are everything. Always make sure to pick up yucca if you ever spawned in a desert. Always. Triangle. You'll see all this stuff right here. There's a little button icon over in the left that tells you what to do with everything. Just do a quick move. At start, you don't really want to try and hoard too much because you'll need inventory space for your food, water, clothing, etc. Always keep an empty slot for jars. If you ever find jars, pick them up. Kind of just to prove a point. You can punch it all day and you won't get a single stone. Well, never mind. I stand corrected. They changed it. Anyway, it's more of a waste of the stone than to just find them along the way and pick them up. You can just keep searching trash, find metals, tin, etc. Another stone. I'm just going to get over here in the nicer biome. These kind of biomes right here are what you really want to start in, as these trees will break in 12 hits, which, you know, with your fist anyway. With an axe it'll be a lot shorter, I promise. There are more abundance of stone, there's more grass than just little patches spread here and there. It's easier to get your materials rather than trying to find it in a desert. Deserts aren't really great for stone unless you can find a gravel deposit. But anyway, if you look to the top right, you'll see the new missions. That's basically just a tutorial to kind of just get you started in the game. It's not really meant to be a full-on here's what you're going to be doing throughout the entire game kind of thing. It's kind of just a way to get you started. Okay, you'll need this, 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 and this. And like I said, we'll just hold this, open up our little menu, and here's your basics of everything you'll need. Anywhere from building supplies, med kits, which you'll have to get a recipe for, etc. And apparently I went too far and can now spawn zombies. Yeah. Can you even get up here? No? Okay. Don't do like I did, because that is dangerous. But it is a quick way, if you have nothing, to kind of get you started. It's also a good way to build up your athleticism. Not a great way to destroy corpses. For that, you'd really want an axe. This is kind of just to keep other zombies from being attracted to this area. Always destroy the corpses. Unless you're wanting to make like a bait trap or something like that, then, you know, more power to you. Keep your corpses alive. But anyway, now that we have that, we can go to our character, quick move that to our hotbar, and just set it down with L2, and boom. First mission done. Now it'll get our second mission, which is to craft a pickaxe, which I already have the materials for. Just go down here, and boom. This is your main tool. This will always be with you until it breaks and you have to build a new one. Clothing, I have enough plant fibers to already go ahead and do this, but you'll need a total of, I think, 45 to get it started. You can crouch and harvest materials. Crouching is R3, which most people will figure out when they first start up the game. They'll try and figure out what button does what. R2 is for destruction whenever you're building. L2 is to upgrade and improve. I made the mistake of when I first started and destroyed an entire house because I thought I was tempering it. Ended up destroying the entire thing in one shot. And it was a platform base too, so everyone that was inside the base kind of went and fell to their deaths very, very quickly. Now rocks like this, one that I'm breaking, has 3 stages. It's got the full stage, the almost broken stage, and then when you destroy the third one, it'll disappear. These are great sources for iron, stone, etc. You can just keep crafting them, tear down your other ones for a little extra stone, keep moving it, and just keep going back and forth. Your main goal for the first day isn't really necessarily to find anything. It's to stock up on stone, wood, and cloth. Well, not cloth, but plant fibers. Your stamina gauge is a necessary to keep track of, because the lower it is, the less you'll break, the longer it takes to mine, etc. I'm kind of just going back and forth here. Switch to an empty slot, break down a bunch of other stuff. Collecting the cotton plants that are around will let you build some basic armor. Again, it's not the most reliable place, and it's not the best armor in the entire game. You can collect these to make medicine, mostly herbal teas, which will cure most of your early diseases, except for infections. Infections, you'll want to find tree stumps or bees, which can die in one shot, thankfully. And you can harvest them with a knife for honey. To get a honey, you just have to use a stone axe and chop a zombie, chop deer, chop really anything that was once a living thing, other than, like, I don't think dogs give you bones. I'm not 100% on that, so don't hold me to it. remember if they give you bones. Anyway, wood is used for until you find massive amounts of coal and have a pickaxe to mine a bunch of it at one time. It is used for your cooking, for building, pretty much anything that involves a pickaxe. The more of these that you can find later on, well, early on, the better, because this will give you your starter ammunition. There you are. I wonder where you were. Okay. Kinda just gonna see what's around me. Not really worried about her. I can easily outrun her if I wanted to. Don't really see anything close by worth mentioning off in the distance. Let's jump up here. There's a road. That's the desert I just came from. I'm not really seeing anything worth. Zombies right off the bat aren't really worth your time unless you just really don't want to be followed. How? Always aim for the head. Headshots will kill them quicker. Some will give you your early starting guns. Some won't. Like I said, it really just depends on luck. And I think I just found a small horde. Yeah, I just found a small horde. Fun. Ow. Oh, no. A good tactic for dealing with zombies early on is to kind of find a rock they can't jump on. Wait for them to come over to you. Where'd the other one go? Oh, she's up there. Okay. Ah, spiritual axe spike. Burn! Zombie, burn! Burn, zombie, burn! And of course I get a fat one too. These guys are the worst when you first get them. The bloaters, because they take the longest to kill, they have the longest health. Really, they're just all in all a pain. I think I just found a small horde. And I'm regretting this. See what I mean by the longest health? Ah, I finally died. Anything else? Nope. Okay. Ooh, medicine and food. Thank you. Nothing. Main zombies. Arrowhead. Yes, if zombies fall, well, they're corpses anyway. If they fall from a height of more than 1 block, then they usually just explode on impact. which doesn't let you harvest their bodies, which, I mean, until you get your looting up there just a little bit, isn't really going to hurt you any. Now later on, you can lose valuable loot. You can lose just any amount of things. I've even lost entire guns because a zombie decided just to fall randomly. Out of nowhere, just came up, jumped off the ground, turned into a body thing, and disappeared. And completely lost an AR because of it. But, yeah. Anyway, main roads will usually lead you to towns. It also can lead you to hordes. It can lead you to some decent loot. Deserts are alright to explore in. I wouldn't explore in them for very long. Ooh. As you can see, there's a bunch of zombies over there. The road leads into some mountains. Doesn't really look like anywhere I really want to go. Cars are great for loot. Trash bags. Bookstores are great for what the game will eventually give you, which is called schematics. Schematics are used to learn your recipes for crafting cars, armor, weapons. Because in order to fix a weapon, you have to have the schematic in order to know how it's made, how to fix it, etc., etc. Kind of just like real life, where you want to learn, okay, how am I putting an engine together? Or how am I building a house, etc. Gotta have blueprints, otherwise you don't know. You're just gonna randomly put things together and hope it stays. You won't know how to measure it, etc. The only vehicle that we have in the game right now in PS4 is the mini bike, and I think they're adding the truck in, or the dune buggy. Not sure, don't know. I haven't heard much about it since the release. Ooh, I found a fully intact chainsaw. Hell yeah. Side roads will lead you to like camps, houses, churches, etc. There isn't too much that side roads won't lead you to. Can also lead you into a giant horde of zombies. I've had it happen multiple times. There are 7 types of biomes, I think. I'm not quite sure on that number either, but I think there's 7. Gonna be stuck on that one for a little bit. Anyway, if I find them all or I remember, I'll either put it in the comments or down the description section to correct that mistake. Don't do what I just did and open a loot thing near a zombie, because 90% of the time, if there's something good in it, it won't open fast enough, and it can cause you to get stunned and die. You can get stunned, drunk. Lead pipes, while not weapons in this game, are used to make a forge, which later on is what you'll be using to make your iron and your upgraded tools. Animals like that one right there, the pig, the rabbit that you saw earlier, those deer, great source of meat and hides. Bad when you have no ranged weapon to really assault them with, because getting up close, they'll do like any real life animal would do and, well, run away. I need that duffel bag, which means I need you to come back here just a little bit. Come on, Mr. Zombie. Come on. Thank you. Gonna just scoot past you right here. keep it to where I can see him. Okay, got some bottles, which are great. Gonna need those later. There's only one animal that I've seen in this entire game that, well, no, two that actually will attack you. And that is the bear and the zombie dogs. Well, and the giant hornets, but they're kind of mutated. Nurses are great for medical supplies. Not so great for much else. They are where most of your antibiotics and stuff will come from if you're nowhere near a town. But like I said, without your loot being up there, you're not really going to find much. Then, these girls, I call them the little emo goth girls.
You call them rocker chicks?
I call them rocker chicks, usually. They're good for bullets, guns, pretty much anything else that you could really need. Again, usually not really worth your time until you get up there in levels. And here I am telling people not to deal with zombies and zombie hordes, and look exactly what I'm doing. As you can tell, I've kind of played this game a little bit. I know a little bit about what I'm doing. I don't recommend doing what I did if you're new, unless you're just confident in yourself. Whenever roads split like this, I usually follow the one closest to me. Always check tree stumps because they're your best bet for finding honey and stuff. Departed mothers usually always have your ammo. They're also the bigger pain other than the bloated people to kill. Because like the bloated ones, they usually have a decent health bar. But see, you'll always get good water, medicine, sometimes you'll get medical supplies, you'll get I've found tire guns on them. It really just depends on how high your looting is. But Departed Mothers usually always have your water or some kind of food on there to sustain you. And remember when I said earlier about don't keep things that you're not wanting to lose in your hotbar? This is what I mean. You don't want to lose water, you don't want to lose food, your medical.
That depends on their setting, on if they lose backpack
Well,
or
this goes with what I was doing with the tool belt and stuff that I explained earlier.
The backpack.
I usually make it to where I lose my toolbar, which is the little bar down here at the bottom of the screen. That's your toolbar. Your backpack is your actual inventory when you open up your map and everything. It is good to keep your important items in, but not always. Alright, now you see that little burned, decayed house over there? Those are either burn land or savage lands. You want to avoid those early on as much as possible. Namely because, well, you have a big factor of running into dogs. Dogs early on are not fun to encounter, in my opinion. Mainly because a whole pack of them will kill you in an instant, and one can and usually will kill you fairly fast. It's not always the case. I've seen people that can take them out with just a pickaxe. Usually they're a lot more armored than I am. But it really just depends on you, your situation, and how set up you are at that time. But I'm just going to get on top of that rock probably in just 1 second. Okay, that car can't even be looted. Yeah, I'll just get on top of this rock. It's a fairly decent sized rock. There we go. I'm just going to finish out my little bar thing. Let's just do that quick. Clothing. This is what you'll be manufacturing when you first start your thing. You'll want to get gloves, hood, pants, shirt, and shoes. And then just equip that. Equip that. You'll hit triangle to equip things. You'll hit up to wear them. And that's pretty much what you need to know for basic starter. And doing that, you'll complete 2 missions in one go. Because the next mission is to wear what you just made. Once you get that done, you can kind of just scurvy on your way. Craft a club. This is your first weapon of the game. You know, minus your axe and your torch of death. Most of the time, you're not really going to be in too much worry. If you ever see a bear, that's when you might be screwed, because bears are relentless in chasing you, and they are incredibly fast for 4-legged marsupials. Well, they're not marsupials. Mammals. My bad.
Mammals?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
Anyway. Like I said, stumps are great for finding most of your basic starters. They're not exactly common, and they're not exactly for the people who have never played. Buildings are a bad place to try and find loot, because there's usually always hordes of zombies inside and hordes of zombies around it. I just got lucky and this one just had the one inside, but I'm not going to go and loot it. Once you gather enough wood, enough stone, enough plant fibers to make you a few axes here and there, this is when you'll want to start completing your top right missions. It's mostly just to get you a feel of the game, kind of get you a basic setup of how to start it out, and where exactly you'll go from there is entirely up to you. This game is more of a determine your own fate. As you can see, following the road, you'll find plenty of monsters, plenty of zombies, plenty of things that'll want to eat you. Most of them are the difficult ones that you don't really want to mess with right off the bat. But at the same time, if you're kind of just like me and one of those, yeah, let's do it kind of people, then chances are you'll be alright. It'll just take you some getting used to on, okay, where's my reach? How far can I swing? How close do they need to be for me to be able to hit them and them not try and hit me, etc. Now, most places in 7 Days to Die don't really require too much time to really prep up. Like, I'm not even going to keep those. Take both of these. You kind of just want to discard what you don't need for things that you do. Those I definitely need. I'll get rid of those. mainly just because nails are commonplace. Nails later on, when you can find enough parts to make a nail gun. Once you can make a nail gun, you're pretty much set up on your tempering and stuff like that. I, for one, don't really worry about it too much, because once you can make a forge, which is fairly easy besides the animal hides, which once you get so far and you make a bow and arrow, here's you some coal for people who want to know what it looks like. This is good for fire starters. You'll also need it, and nitrate powder to make gunpowder, which is used to craft bullets and everything else later on in your game. 90% of the time you won't really need it, you won't really use it. After a little bit and you get your scavenging fairly high, you'll find a bunch of it in the game. You won't really need to worry about having it or trying to find coal as much. But starting out with little to no things, and if you're really just wanting to save wood for cooking, you can use coal instead. Well, look at that, I found another house. But houses like this, where they're two-story, best place to start out survival, but you'll have to clear out some of the residents, your former residences. Water towers, which like this one over here, is great for if you don't know where a huge body of water is. These are great resources. They're great to have. They're great to mark on your map. Now, to mark things on your map, let me get up here on this rock, the ultimate rock of power. Kind of just to give you, if I can get on this rock. There we go. You'll open up your map, which is this right here. And considering that I am right across from the water tower, I'm facing it, as you can see right here, all you'll do is hit triangle, hit save waypoint with an X, and you can set it right here on whatever you want. I choose the X as a point of interest. I also do this for airdrops, air supplies, etc. Kind of just to give myself a more of a generalization of where it is. And if I ever need to go back to it later, I can. These kind of houses right here are great for starter homes, and they're easier to prep up for Horde Night. Some of them will already have a forge inside. I'll just do a quick, there's a forge, just so everyone knows what one looks like. Sometimes you can find them, sometimes you can't. It's more of a luck of the draw kind of thing. And for newer players, don't ever do what I just did, where I was running past a giant horde of zombies just to try and show you if this thing had a forge or not. Don't try that at home unless you're very confident in your skills. But usually early on, days like this, you're easier to find your... You can easily kill zombies with fairly little difficulty once you can figure out your reach, your range, what is okay to hit, what is not okay to hit, etc. Never fight bears unless you have a gun and a lot of ammo, or something that can actually do a fair amount of damage in quick succession. Sledgehammers are slow. Bows take forever to kill something. Here's a town, and or maybe just be a cross section. I think it maybe just be a cross section. Nope, it's just a street diner. It's a gas station. Why not? This is a four-way cross section. Yeah, can't speak English today. They'll usually have 3 different POIs, or point of interest. Gas stations are good for gas, which is good for the chainsaw. These right here, if you can manage to get into them, are great for quick defensive point, as they're usually already pretty set up to handle most things, not everything. Come in here, let's see if there's a... if I don't get stuck. As you can see, there's a workbench inside here, which you'll definitely want. You can take them if you have a wrench. I personally do not have one. And apparently this was a dead end anyway. Ironic, considering all the zombies. Yep, dead end. What do you think? What do you think? You think it's a good name? Nope. Okay. This is what I mean by horde mentality. You can see there's one back there in the distance. There's a bunch of zombies right here. There's a bunch of them trying to break through that door. And it just keeps growing. This is what I mean by horde. You see, this guy just comes out of nowhere. Just because these guys are making a bunch of racket. I don't deal with them unless I have to. Until later on when I actually need to do this. I normally don't try and wander as far as I did away from my starter location until I can get pretty set up. But at the same time, I'm just kind of showing everyone a little bit of the world, a little bit of what's to come as you explore. Basically, I'm doing the let's give it an explore thing while I'm sitting here talking to you. Kind of just show you all the different kinds of zombies and trying not to find a zombie dog. Hey, there's Sherry. There's Sherry. There's different kinds of dips, blown up cars. No one really knows how the apocalypse got started. I think it was a bunch of bombs, as if you can find a central city, which if I looked on my map long enough I could probably get to in a little bit. A central city is always at the location 00 on your map. Now, it's not to say that there won't always be one. Like right here, there's 00, and if I just keep going up, there's your, right here will be right around where your central city is. So I'll just mark that with this. Well, I'll mark it with this because that's where the major city would be. Zoom in. No. Can I just see where I'm at on my map? Okay, apparently I'm going backwards a little bit, but whatever. Anyway, as you can see, there's plenty of rolling plains. There's a lot of different places you can see, things to explore, different types of terrain. This right here, right under my feet, is clay, which you'll need for your workbench, your ammo benches, and not your workbench, but your forge at some point. I'm getting tongue-tied. There is... Ooh, hey. Anytime you can find cooking pots, grills, etc., if you're not really worried about picking up cotton, go ahead and chuck it. It's not going to help you very much in terms of protection, especially later on when you can make iron armors and stuff like that. Your main issue in the game starting out is stamina, your food, and water. The less of these that you have in abundance, the harder your game is going to be. Because as you get hungrier, thirstier, your bars start to go down, you'll eventually start to thirst and starve to death. Zombies will do more damage, you'll start doing less damage. Cactuses and everything will hurt you if you run into them. It also helps to know that it will also hurt zombies. Fortunately, they do not do as much damage as I would like them to do, unless they apply the bleeding effect, which is 1 in a million chance. I think I just heard a dog. I really hope not. I really, really hope not. Let me see. Let's get you right here. Kind of just shift you, eat, so I can gain some stamina and keep running. You can drink, you can eat while you run. It's great to have for all intents and purposes. And as for your biomes, I still don't remember how many biomes there are. There's the desert, the savanna, grassy plains, oak forest plains, etc. There's more than I could ever cover. Apparently there's a giant lake. I, amazingly enough, found a giant lake. Unless that is a mirage. I'm really hoping that is not a mirage.
I don't think so.
I need to last my fruit. Pick some up while I run. No, that is not a mirage. That is a really fucking giant lake. Hell yes. You'll find these, which are... giant caverns. The ground can break away and sometimes will, so be careful when you're going near edges. Also, there is sand traps in the desert, which, again, if you're not careful, you will fall into, you will die. And most of them are very, very deep and will kill you. Water is good for when you're in the desert, mostly because you can die of heat stroke, which most of the time you really won't have to worry about unless you're just out and about and have no cool clothing, which again all determines based on your loot. Having a giant lake like this is a good thing, especially in a game like this where you don't really have much in terms of I think I went too far. No, I just haven't went far enough over. I need to go that way, apparently. Apparently I need to go to the west. Do 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 do. Do do. Now I'm gonna have to run around the giant lake. Do 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 do. Ooh, cemetery. Another point of interest. There's usually a decent weapon. A lot of things to break. Again, a lot of zombies. Ironic, considering it's a cemetery. Ow. And as I just showed you, running into a cactus can and will hurt you. But amazing enough, the plants that have giant spikes that give you fruit don't. Game logic. finally I can see it. But I'm gonna have to cross a giant ass lake anyway. Traveling through lakes and stuff will take forever. It is extremely slow. Carry beer or energy drinks on hand, and you won't really have to worry about it. If you're low on fluids and stuff, drink water. And all of those will give you some little bit of extra stamina. And since we're coming on to the hour mark, I say once I get across here, I'll end episode 1. If you liked what you've seen, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I'll start posting more often and more daily, and I'm also going to try and get my hardest difficulty series going a little bit more. Yeah, I think that'll do it for this episode. My name is Django, and you have been a great audience. Peace out.